With a new decade comes a new direction for Volkswagen, as they announced last year that the Golf and Golf Alltrack were no longer going to be sold in the US, and instead a brand new crossover would take their place. With the Taos now arriving at showrooms, it has already drawn attention from consumers and journalists, as it brings the styling that we see with the Atlas, similar technology that the Tiguan offers, and is more practical than the two vehicles it's replacing. On paper, it seems like it will do quite well in the US, and compete with some of the hot sellers in the subcompact segment. However, the Taos has its pros and cons, which either entices you or turns you off from this crossover altogether. So here are 5 things you should know about the 2022 Volkswagen Taos before test driving one. The subcompact crossover market has been quite competitive, with manufacturers trying to find a leg up on rivals, whether that be offering a good amount of features and technology for a price that undercuts the competition, or giving their vehicles a potent engine option for buyers looking for engagement behind the wheel. The Volkswagen Taos is going to be in a tough spot price-wise, as on the higher end, with the SEL trim, you're going to be paying over $30,000 for the creature comforts, like leather-trimmed seats and a full digital gauge cluster. However, it's going to be underpowered compared to the Mazda CX-30 or Kia Seltos. And when you look at what competitors are offering in the $32,000 to $35,000 price range, the Taos could easily find itself lost in the mix of subcompacts. For buyers on a stricter budget, the SE might be a better option, as the starting price is just under $28,000, and you can add optional equipment such as a panoramic sunroof and additional safety features that will enhance the overall driving experience and give you some peace of mind behind the wheel. However, if you're a fan of leather seats, the SE isn't going to provide that, whereas some subcompact crossovers, especially at $30,000, might have a more comfortable interior to go along with better performance, which is another aspect of the Volkswagen Taos that we must put a spotlight on. When we analyze power figures for crossovers, it's all relative. As these vehicles are not performance-oriented, they're not going to have sports-tuned suspensions, and they're certainly not going to be the go-to option for drivers who have a lead foot. However, the Volkswagen Taos falls in line in the center of the pack for subcompact crossovers, as Volkswagen's smallest SUV is powered by a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that puts out 158 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque, and will be paired with either a 7-speed DSG or an 8-speed automatic, depending on if you go with front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Now on paper, it appears to be underpowered compared to other vehicles in this segment that use bigger turbocharged 4-cylinders. However, this engine is pretty peppy for what it is, and thanks to a traditional automatic transmission, accelerations are smoother and more linear than rivals who use CVTs. During our time with the Taos, body roll was a bit better than expected, as crossovers tend to not have a lower center of gravity, but there are some car-like handling qualities to this crossover to make it enjoyable to drive on weekday commutes. But this leads us back to pricing once again, as you're spending over $30,000 for an SEL trim and you still have the 1.5 under the hood, while Mazda, Kia, and soon Hyundai will have more powerful powertrains in this price range. So hopefully we see another engine option for the Taos in the near future. As we see with many vehicles this year, the continuation of technology trickling down to affordable markets has given buyers the opportunity to experience a futuristic interior even if their budgets are under $40,000. Standard for all trims will be Volkswagen's digital cockpit, but if you offer the SEL, you'll have the upgraded Digital Cockpit Pro, which is fully customizable, and it's here where you can display your navigation system, much like we see with new Audi products. In a market where some rivals are still using analog gauges, the Taos arrives with modern features that should draw the attention of consumers who want a tech-filled cabin. Then as you glance over the infotainment system, you'll have an 8-inch touchscreen that is not only user-friendly, but responsive as well. There'll be quick access buttons found on either side of the screen, and dials for the volume and tuning for that analog feel that some buyers still desire for their new vehicles. Where the Volkswagen Taos has become an appealing crossover in this market is with its interior space and practicality, as most subcompacts and even vehicles that are borderline compacts tend to be quite cramped when it comes to shoulder and legroom for passengers in the second row. While the Taos is still not conducive for a family of 5, taller occupants will have no problem with headroom, as this crossover has a traditional SUV roofline. Even up front, you won't be dealing with any claustrophobia, as the interior is very roomy and comfortable. Thanks to its larger exterior dimensions compared to the Subaru Crosstrek or Hyundai Kona, the Taos is going to offer around 28 cubic feet of room behind the second row seats, which outclasses most competitors and is similar to the Nissan Rogue Sport and Jeep Compass. So if you live in the city and deal with on-street parking, the Taos is going to be versatile in a sense that you can easily fit in tight spots while also having enough space for whatever you might be carrying with you during the week. If you're in the market for a new crossover, but you don't need a midsize SUV and you're on a stricter budget, the Volkswagen Taos is going to feel and look like a scaled-down version of the Atlas, making it appear as though it's more upscale than a Honda HR-V or Chevrolet Trailblazer, despite being in the same price range. Beneficial for this vehicle moving forward is that by sharing a similar design, you're going to have some of the rugged aesthetic features, while also receiving LED headlights, which come standard, to add a bit more class to the Taos. And then, as we just discussed, the likeness to its bigger sibling provides the advantages of going with a boxier crossover. They'll have the interior room that should be sufficient for growing families. In a segment where subcompact crossovers are arguably lifted hatchbacks, the Taos lives up to its name as being a small SUV, that regardless of being a bit expensive on the high end and not having the most powerful engine, will be very appealing for buyers who have urban lifestyles that's looking for an overall practical and compact SUV. Your choices in this segment up to this point has been pretty limited, as the Nissan Rogue and Jeep Compass has been the popular alternatives to smaller crossovers. But now with the Taos, you have a nicely designed vehicle that also has a good amount of tech features to make it a great option if you're in the market for a new SUV in 2021. We hope you enjoyed this quick buyer's guide for the 2022 Volkswagen Taos. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos like this one. And if you're interested in buying a Volkswagen Taos or any other subcompact crossover, make sure to check out our full reviews to help you find your next vehicle. And thanks for watching.